Welcome into First Pitch for Wednesday, April 27th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Ariel Epstein and Adam Trigger. We're breaking down three games on tonight's card. We got Boston Red Sox, Toronto Blue Jays, followed by Houston Astros and Texas Rangers, and the Cleveland Guardians versus the LA Angels. We got best bets, final thoughts at the end. We got some K-props as well, mainly from our friend Ariel Epstein, known as the Prop Queen from Yahoo Sports MLB Network. Ariel, welcome in. How you feeling this Wednesday?
I'm great. We've got day baseball going on. There's actually three games going on here in the afternoon on the East Coast. Of course, there's the night slate too. Drew, I'm ready to crush the board with you guys.
Absolutely. Are you sweating anything out in these 3-day games?
I do have the under it's the under 4. Now I have to remember. See, now you caught me off guard. I have it written down what I grabbed it at.
An under and a K-prop?
Yeah, Steven Matz at 5.5. So the St. Louis Cardinals lefty up against the Mets. The Mets have the lowest K rate in baseball to start the season. Let's see if he could get under 5.5 against his former team.
I like it. We're going to be breaking down some K-props in depth with Ariel. We got Adam Trigger as well, known by Trig by many on Twitter at TopFlightSI. Welcome in, Adam. How you feeling, buddy?
Feel great, Drew. I've been up since 5:30 a.m. watching baseball. I already won two KBO games this morning, so I feel great. No day baseball for me, but I'll definitely have some stuff tonight. So, looking forward to talking about the games.
Baseball all over the world for Trig, and we'll get after tonight's games. Starting in the AL East, guys, we got the Boston Red Sox, Toronto Blue Jays, arguably the game of the night. An interesting handicap here, Ariel, as we get Waka versus Stripling, battle of Texas A&M Aggies here. I'd give the bullpen advantage here to the Blue Jays. The market price in a -140, though. I think that's a little rich, 8.5 being the total. What are your thoughts north of the border, Ariel?
I like the over. I already seen it move from 8.5 up to 9. The bullpens have been atrocious for both these teams. They have both blown 5 saves, which is tied for the most in Major League Baseball. The way the Red Sox have been playing, you want to vomit. Their bullpen ERA is over a 10 right now, and that's in the last 7. It's 7 innings or later. They have an ERA over 10. That is disgusting. Boston's lost 7 of their last 9, so I don't trust them to back them in an underdog capacity. They also don't have their manager, the Red Sox, and Alex Cora. He's still back in Boston after testing positive for COVID. Stripling, even though he's had success in recent parts of the season against Boston, he has an ERA at 14.90. I'm going with the over in this spot because these bullpens are terrible after the 7th inning, in addition to the starters just not being 2 different pitchers that I would want to back. So give me the over 8.5 as it's on the move.
Yeah, I was looking at this too, Trig, in terms of looking to bet the over, 8 in the hook here. I mean, Waka hasn't exactly been lights out. I know his ERA isn't bad, but his strikeout to walk ratio, just 12-7. And on the other side, 5-4. That's Stripling strikeout to walk ratio. So they're really not missing bats at a high rate. And 8.5 with these two lineups. I looked over as well. The only thing keeping me off of it is this huge trend towards unders so far this season. Not sure how much you're factoring that in, Trig. What are your thoughts north of the border?
Well, Joe, or Drew, I think we have a consensus show play here because I like the over as well. I'm looking at the board right now, there's definitely 8.5 still out there. The first thought I had when I saw this matchup and I saw some of the numbers was, man, like Michael Waka has to be a regression candidate. You know, you look at his numbers coming into today, they're really, really good. I think the ERA is like 1.8. But this guy's been getting pounded for probably close to 3 years now. I think the last really good season he was 2018, maybe. Either 2018, I think 2019, his ERA jumped to 5, and it's like been up there since. So Waka looks like a candidate for regression. Stripling is his numbers career. His good numbers come as a reliever. His numbers as a starter, not nearly as good. So, that would, I would look to fade both starters, and both these teams have absolutely killed each other's bullpens. So I don't know that there is a better bullpen here because both teams have owned the other team's bullpen. And that trend kind of continued last night with Springer, with the Jays blowing the lead and then Springer kind of walking it off. So, yeah, Toronto hitting home runs at a ridiculous rate right now. I would look toward the over, and I'm with you, Drew. The only thing that really puts me off is the rate that unders have been cashing so far this season. But this is one where I think if you wanted to take a stand in this game, you'd look for runs, especially if you can get 8.5.
I like it, Trig. And I got a couple things to bounce off of both Ariel and Adam here. Interested in your thoughts, guys. I don't know if you have seen the comments from Chris Bassett. Joe Ranieri just pointed this out to me. But I want to read it to you and see what you guys think, as we're at this 17-18 game mark here for most teams. And the baseballs is now coming to kind of center stage here. Chris Bassett, pitcher in MLB, said, the MLB has a very big problem with the baseballs. They are bad. Everyone knows it. Every pitcher in the league knows it. MLB doesn't give a damn about it. They don't care. We have told them our problems with them. They don't care. There is no common ground with the balls, he said. There is nothing the same outing to outing. It matters with the climate. They're all different. This is crazy to me. I mean, in terms of an MLB pitcher coming out, I love the fact that he's being transparent. I don't know if he's going to get in trouble for this, but what my question to you guys is, Trig, I'll start with you. How much are you factoring this into your handicaps? I mean, are you going to sit here and try to kind of use his comments and find edges, both totals and sides here? What do you think about this overall, what he said about the baseballs?
Well, first, Drew, I don't think he's lying. If you look at the history of Rod Manfred as commissioner, he changes the rules mid-season, right? Like we've seen baseball use different balls at different levels of play, which is also just absolutely mind-numbing to me. You know, you've had the Ariel it's Garcia on the Yankees. I remember a couple of years ago, dominant at AA, gets to AAA, it's a different ball, and he's struggling. Why is there a different ball at AA and AAA? That makes no sense. Everyone should be using the same ball. If it is true, I wouldn't think he would come out and lie. So there's probably an element of truth to it. How do we quantify it to get an edge? I'm not really sure yet, but I would be shocked if he's lying. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, sure. And two things I'm thinking about is because he also made comments in terms of controlling the ball. That's why more hitters are getting hit by the baseball, but also the ball isn't traveling as far. The hard hit rate is down this season. I think that has something to do with unders being a huge trend. Interested in your thoughts, Ariel, if you're factoring this in a lot early on in the season.
I'm not factoring it in early in the season. First off, Chris Bassett's the one who said it. He threw a shutout yesterday, didn't he? I mean, clearly, this isn't affecting him and his pitching that much. Maybe there is a ball problem. It's not going to be it's one of those intangible things. Some pitchers care, some don't. Some cared about sticky stuff last year, some didn't. It affected others, not some. There's only so much that we could factor in. I'm just looking at the numbers. That's what I'm betting, not about these variables that are out of our control.
Stick to the numbers. Like it, Ariel. We got 2 games left, guys. Huge shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. See James saying Rawlings Gate. That could be one that he runs with. Also, does Trig ever chime in the comments? He will below in the reply section, see James. But hey, see James asking a question to you, Trig. First off, he's saying Adam KBL Trigger. Actually, if you're wanting to give him a nickname, it's Korean Adam. That kind of comes off the tongue a little bit better, guys, in the chat. But he's also asking you how you watch the KBL so early in the morning.
Well, it's at a nice time for me on the East Coast. The games start at 5:30 a.m. They're all free. So they're all on Naver TV, and I've tweeted this out a bunch. I haven't tweeted it in a while. I will post the link where you can go to watch the games. There's a nice little app. It's called the Naver Now app for your phone. Everything's free. No blackouts like the MLB, making it impossible to watch the team in your area. There's 5 games, Korean announcers, so I have no clue what they're saying, but they do get fired up as hell, Drew. It's awesome. They call every game like it's game 7. They're all on, all streaming, easy to access, easy to watch.
So it's like a Spanish soccer announcer, just like when they score a goal, it's nuts. I like that stuff, man. That's always fun. So we got 2 games left, guys. Huge shout out to the chat box. Feel free to reply below if you think the baseballs are mattering. If you got any questions for Trig on KBO questions, feel free to fire away for Ariel as well. Let's head to the Battle of Texas here. Trig. 8 p.m. start on the East Coast. We got Houston Astros, Texas Rangers, Javier versus Otto, 8.5 being the total. Competitively priced game, seeing the Houston Astros minus 120, mostly minus 115 now. What are you thinking in the Lone Star State here, Trig?
So the slight move toward Texas does not surprise me one bit. Texas seems to get hit by sharp money on a daily basis. Haven't really figured out why yet. Obviously, there's, based off potential, like the Rangers certainly have it. And they've got guys like Marcus Semien who haven't sort of, lived up to potential yet. So they could be a good play on team, but this price kind of feels cheap for the Astros. The Astros are 8-9. I'd imagine they're going to be better than that. Like, they're probably better than a 500 team. They're not my favorite team out west this year by any means, but they're likely going to finish above 500. Javier comes back into the starting rotation. Looks like they're going to go with a 6-man rotation. He's been good in relief so far this year. I don't know how far he will go, but the Astros do seem to have a fresh bullpen heading into this game. So, Glenn Otto, he pitched well against the Astros first time around. Last year, got hit hard the second time around. Pitching has been an issue for the Rangers. It's been tough to trust this Rangers team with whatever they throw out there. So it's almost like if they can get a good outing, they're going to be in it. But I don't know that I really trust Otto here. So this one I quickly passed on. But if I had to play, I think Astros feels cheap. Minus 115 on the Astros kind of feels cheap here. That's the way it would look.
Ariel, I'm with Trig here. I look towards the Astros. I actually lost on them on my best bet, I think 2 days ago. But Javier, the 26-year-old Dominican, 12 strikeouts, 1 walk on the year. I like this guy. I've bet on him before in the past. And Otto on the other side going for the Rangers. A young guy. I was doing some research when he just got married. He's only 26 years old, second start from Rice University. Not a lights out guy, but his numbers aren't bad. What are you thinking here, Houston and Texas, Ariel?
This is my fishy line of the day. This line's moved, 20 cents in favor of Texas, and majority of the action, about 78% of the bets and 55% of the money, 60% of the money is coming in on Houston. 20-cent move? That's ridiculous. I'm not going to bet the Astros at all here. This, to me, is how do you fade the Astros without legitimately fading them? Like, how do you fade Houston without having to bet Texas money line? Because I don't want to do that either. I don't trust the Rangers bullpen. They're bottom 10 in the league in team ERA. I kind of trust Otto, though. Now, the Texas Rangers starter, although Trig mentioned that he got slammed for 7 runs in the second outing against Houston last year, threw 5 innings of shutout baseball against the Astros the first time around last season. Javier, even though he's a bullpen pitcher, he still has had very good outings so far this year, and they do have a bullpen that's ready to go in Houston, who's a top 10 bullpen. I'm going to focus in on the first 5. I'm going first 5 under, 4.5 runs. If you have bet the first 5 under in Houston Astros road games, you are extremely profitable this year. It is 3-8 to the under. When the Astros are on the road, they have the 6th worst batting average on the road this season. The Astros on the road, fade the bats, go with the under in the first 5.
Bringing the heat. Like that stat, 3-8 to the under. First 5 on the road for the Stros. We got 1 game left here, Ariel. It's the Cleveland Guardians versus the LA Angels, the nightcap for the show in Southern California. We get Dan Plesac's nephew, Zach Plesac, versus Ohtani, the pitcher-batter, the Japanese-born phenom here, commanding a minus 200 price tag. That's the Angels at home, 7.5 being the total. What are you liking in SoCal tonight, Ariel?
I really don't have a play here. It's going to be a pass for me. If I had to, I would lead in some kind of under, whether it was Guardians team total under or the under in the full game at 7.5. Although WagerTalk's Dave Koken says, don't bet full game unders. I have not since opening day because I faded Koken on that, and I am sorry for that, Coke. Anyway, I was looking at that Guardians under for the team total. Unfortunately, the Guardians are still averaging just under 5 runs per road game. Ohtani's just been so good, and the Guardians have been so bad. They've put up, I'm looking at their last 5 road games. They haven't put up more than 4 runs. Their team total, though, 2.5. You're paying extra because it's Ohtani. It's a stay away spot. I hate any of the Ohtani games because the book just loves to grab the public. They love Ohtani money. They want it all, whether he's pitching, whether he's hitting. I'm not giving the books the satisfaction. Stay away spot.
Sure. I mean, you can see why, Trig. He's a fan favorite out there. And looking at his stat, he's kind of been up and down this season. 2 starts ago, giving up 6 earned runs. Last time out, very, very good. 26 strikeouts, 4 walks, though. So he's got good strikeout to walk numbers. It's just a matter of minus 200 here on the Angels. Seems pricey to me. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, that line's way inflated. Otani's good. Like, that was a nice outing last time. Six innings of like 1 hit ball against the Astros. I think he took a no-hitter into the 6th. But he had his flaws in the first couple starts. I want to say he didn't get past the 5th inning in his first start. The Rangers knocked him around a little bit in his second start. So to see him here at minus 200, the Guardians maybe are worthy of being that type of underdog, but the Guardians have Plesac on the mound, who's kind of a play on for me. I've bet on him already this season. He's been solid this year. He's been solid against the Angels. So the way I would look to play this is the way I like to play teams in this spot whenever I can find them, and that's take the plus 1.5 with the road team, because you basically force your opponent to win by margin with 1 less at bat. You get the road team plus 1.5. If the Angels, as long they're not batting in the bottom of the 9th, unless they're tied or behind. So you basically get the free at bat to win the game. The only way, so it's close for me. I haven't added this yet. I would need Steve Kwan in the lineup most likely. He's been out with a little bit of a hamstring injury. So I would want to see his status. But the Guardians, they've lost 5 straight, but they're a capable team. I don't think, I think pretty much anyone is capable of hitting Ohtani, or at least getting him out after the 5th or 6th inning. He's not someone that's gone particularly deep. So Plesac's more than capable of matching him. I would say, Guardians plus 1.5 with Kwan. If Kwan's in the lineup, I think Guardians plus 1.5 is worth a look. Haven't added it yet, but that's certainly the way I would look here.
Good stuff, Trig. Guys, we got best bets, final thoughts coming up. Huge shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. Again, remember, feel free to reply below any questions you have. We'll ask the handicappers going forward the rest of this week. Starting off best bets here. 0-2 this week. I need to go back to Old Faithful and get off the losing streak here. And that's the Miami Marlins, winning 3 straight games up against the Nats here, and the Nets have lost 6 straight games. So the trend is our friend. We get a team winning 3 straight. We get a team losing 6 straight. We get Pablo Lopez here versus Fetty, and Fetty hasn't been that good. The Las Vegas native, his numbers aren't that good. His velocity is down this season, and Pablo Lopez just lights out last time against the St. Louis Cardinals. Think he carries that over. We get the better starting pitcher, the better relief staff, and the better lineup. We're having to pay 37 cents for it. So it's the Marlins minus 137 for my best bet, getting off of this losing streak this week and finding a winner on hump day. We got Adam Trigger at Top Flight SI on Twitter. Check him out, WagerTalk.com. Trig, what do you got for final thoughts, best bet for the show?
So go right into the best bet. I have a 4% MLB play today. I'm going to give it out for free. And I'm going back to the well on the Cincinnati Reds, plus 1.5. Came up short last night, but I'm going to tell you, Drew, this team's not as bad as they're being made out to be. Historically poor offensive numbers to this point in the season. I mentioned on Wager Talk today, they're hitting 186. Entering play yesterday, they were hitting 186, which is one of the worst marks in the history of baseball through 17 games. But the bats kind of showed up yesterday a little bit. They rallied, scored 6 runs. If it wasn't for San Martin getting left out to die in the 3rd inning, which ended up being an 8-run inning, they're probably right in that game. And I think the matchup is favorable for them here. Mackenzie Gore shut him down a week ago, but it's only his 3rd major league start, and he's going to have to face the same team back to back. That's really difficult. Whereas, Vladimir Gutierrez is in the same boat. He pitched against the Padres last week, but the Padres hit him a little bit, so he might be able to make the adjustments. And he has a full season under his belt, so he's a little bit more accustomed to facing major league hitting, whereas this is just Gore's 3rd outing, and I think that could be a tough task, having to face a big league lineup essentially twice in a week. in your first week or two in the big leagues. So, I just think the Reds are extremely undervalued. I think they're going to start to hit. They hit Musgrove yesterday. They just couldn't work around a ridiculous 8-run inning. So you get a run head start, in a spot where I have to imagine they want this one a little bit. The Padres have now beat them 4 times this year. The Padres owned them last year. They had a little bit of a thing with I think Gutierrez hit a batter last week, and they temper started to boil a little bit. So I think the Reds are going to want to perform well. They're at home. We're getting a free run at roughly the -110. Too much value for me to pass up right there, Drew. I got to take the run head start with the Reds. Reds +1.5, 4% best bet.
Adam Trigger, WagerTalk.com. We got Ariel Epstein at Ariel Epstein on Twitter. Check her out at MLB Network, Yahoo Sports as well, and right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel for First Pitch on Wednesdays. Prop Queen, what do you got for best bets and any final thoughts for the show?
For best bets, I'm giving out my strikeout props. I'm going with the under 3.5 strikeouts on Tampa Bay Rays starter Drew Rasmussen. Now, the Seattle Mariners are bottom 10 in K rate this year. In fact, starting pitchers are 2-10 over/under against the Seattle Mariners. And when it comes to right-handers, 1-8 over/under. These starting pitchers, especially the righties, they're averaging just over 3 strikeouts per start when up against Seattle. Rasmussen's only gone over 3.5 strikeouts 1 time this season. I'm going to go with the under on his strikeout prop of 3.5, even though I know it's low. I've also seen the juice flip. The juice was on the over this morning. It's now flipped to the under. As for the Atlanta Braves game, I'm going with their right-hander, Charlie Morton, under 5.5 strikeouts. Seeing the juice move a little towards the under. It's still on the over. However, it's moving its way. Chicago, bottom 10 when it comes to K rate overall, and 10th lowest K rate against right-handers. I look to the right-handers, 2-8 over/under when facing the Cubs, in addition to averaging just under 3 strikeouts per start. I have absolutely no idea why Charlie Morton's strikeout prop is so high. In addition to the juice being on the over, it's really, really fishy to me. Probably going to have the game of his life based on the way the book is talking about him. He hasn't gone over 5.5 strikeouts yet this year. He had 6 against Chicago last season. That is the only stat pointing me in direction of the over, is what he did last season against this Cubs team. Otherwise, every single number indicates that Morton should not come near 5.5 strikeouts. Bet the under 5.5 on Charlie Morton.
Good stuff, Ariel. And guys, in best bet recap, we got Marlins, the fish, -137. We get Trig on Reds, +1.5, -115. And Ariel Epstein, Charlie Morton, under 5.5 Ks at the plus price. And Rasmussen, under 3.5 Ks, -115. You just heard the elite analysis there from Ariel Epstein. Adam Trigger, I am Drew Martin. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to reply below. Please smash that like button. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Come back and join us. Best of luck until then. Thanks for tuning in.
All we can say is wow. We ran an NBA playoff special in which the first 99 packages sold were discounted down to $149. And pardon the pun, they sold like hotcakes. Well, NHL fans, do not fret, as we are not only matching that offer, but we are actually making it better. Starting Monday, April 25th, the first 99 packages sold using the code PUCK149 will not only get the entire NHL playoffs for only $149, but they will also get the rest of the regular season for free. That means that you can get over 2 months of NHL through the Stanley Cup Finals for under $19 per week. That's paying less than one single play package regularly priced at $25. Do not get shut out, as coupon code PUCK149 is good at both Wager Talk and Sports Memo, and only will be available for the first 99 packages sold, but you may use this code to purchase more than one NHL playoff package.